I have come here today to open your desalination plant, which is the largest in Sri Lanka. And I said together with this and the river for Jaffna we were looking at, in the next few years the water issue in Jaffna will be resolved. When I first came here, the country's economy was tottering. It is not tottering anymore. We have come to agreements with our creditor countries and the bondholders, and we are about to emerge from bankruptcy. We are also at the same time looking at moving ahead. But we can't go back to the old system. If you do so, we'll be taking loans, we'll be running up debt, and I can give it to you in writing in 15 years' time. We'll be in a worse position than 2022. This is why now we have to transform the economy. We have two things to do. One is to carry on with the agreement that we have reached with IMF and has been endorsed by all the creditor countries, including China, and by the bondholders. It has benchmarks, what we must do. As I said, anti-corruption was one of the issues that we had to deal with. But there are a lot more. What is the amount of our revenue should be compared to the GDP? Where should we go? So that agreement has now to be held. You can't move out. The benchmarks can't be moved. Instead of having VAT, if you want to have 200% income tax and you can raise it, that they may allow, you can do it. But you can't go and remove the benchmark, which is what percent of the GDP is the annual revenue of the government. Then the growth rate. All those can't be changed. In between you can change. So actually, if you look at it, there's very little that you can change from what we are doing here. If you go to touch it, the whole thing will collapse and no one will give us money. So I want to ensure that we carry on with this agreement till 2032. By that time, I want the Economic Transformation Act to take place so that we are converting ourselves into a highly competitive export economy. Those two measures we have to take. If we don't do it, there's no future for us. This is why I want it to continue till 2029 when all this has been consolidated and no one can go and turn it. Why did we have this situation? We agreed with the IMF charge a tax of a certain level. Then government came and election promise reduced it. It is very nice to pay less tax. But immediately IMF pulled out and our revenue came down. It was a matter of time. So we can't go back to that again. We have to go forward. And when we go forward, it's not only the economy you have to change. You have to change the political system. If you say the economy collapsed, the political system also collapsed. Because our politics were maintained on making promises and borrowing money. So when the crisis came, there was no one to accept the prime ministership. And so we went into the Guinness Book of Records. The only country in which you had to go begging to find a prime minister. Where on earth do you find a man? He has only himself in parliament, called and asked to be prime minister. Other words, they just ran off. They wouldn't take responsibility. Again, when the president left the country, they told me to resign. I said, who's going to take over? We'll ask the speaker. Speaker said, no, I am not going to take over. I can run the parliament, I can't run the country. So if you keep running away, what can you do? But it is the collapse of a system, as you see some of them saying. They thought this is the way you have to take money. If you can't take money, borrow money, everything is gone. I had different. We have to put this into order. So I felt, no, it's not the economy that has collapsed, but the political system. The economy, at least, we have come to a certain stage. We are still playing the old game. Do you want that? Or are we going to keep playing the same old game? So when I thought I'll come as an independent to show that we have to rethink our political system. How do we go? Where do we go? So changes are needed in society, in all areas. And many questions we just keep playing football with, never resolve. I don't think there's any single question we have resolved because everyone is afraid who will be annoyed. Will someone come and demonstrate outside, call us names? What you need is a tough decision making. We need a new political system to go ahead. We can't go. It's not a question of the constitution. It's not a question of whether the president is there or prime minister is there. It's a question that people here couldn't take leadership and they lack the guts. So what are we going to do? It's the same old game we hear today, no? Has there been a change? So are we going to allow that? It's your future, your children's future. And when I said 2048, they said, what I talk your 2048? I said, because those who are 20 now won't even be 50 by then. It's not a question of thinking of the next day, offering free shoes or saying that with Parantan chemicals we can run the economy. You can't anyway, but get down to the bottom of it. And then we can't be afford to have unnecessary conflicts in this country. Therefore, this whole issue of the Tamils and the Sinhalese and all have to be resolved. You can't go back on it. The country, majority are Sinhalese. As a majority, we accept. Everyone accepts it, even the Tamils and the Muslims. Majority religion is Buddhist. Yes. As a majority, you have the first place there. But it doesn't mean that others have to be put down. Everyone else has to be equal. Not only between ethnic groups and religious groups, but also between men and women. If you look at the group that has got the worst of it, no, not you all, the women. They don't even, being half the country, they don't even have representation in parliament. That's the situation you have. So we have to put this out and we have to go ahead. Let's have Sinhala and Tamil both. I tell some of my Sinhala friends, learn Tamil. Why? Because Tamil Nadu will have a $1 trillion economy. So outside Tamil Nadu, the only people who can speak Tamil and work are Sri Lankans. Even the guys in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar can't do it. So this is the time to go and earn some money there, which is the easiest. So in that thing, one of the major issues we have is to do away with the discrimination, which we are taking steps. Other is also to develop all areas. When I became a minister, I think next to Colombo, Jaffna and Galle and Kandy were the three big cities. Now if I can say, Galle and Kandy are there, but not Jaffna. The war is over. We have to develop. We have to go ahead. The other day I met with the former provincial councillors of the SLP. They say give all the power to the provincial council. Then we are the ones at the grassroots. We should do the development. I also agree with them. I think there is far more power that we can give the provincial council, and I want to give it. There is some work they are good at doing, like poverty alleviation, agriculture modernization. Others we are good at doing, like the Bingiria zone or Hambantota Harbour or Trincomalee Harbour linkage. That's what we can do. So education, all give it to the provincials. You look at the schools. You can't do it otherwise. From Colombo, you can't run all these schools. In fact, from Jaffna to run a school near Vaunia is difficult. Near Madavachia. So just imagine what it is like. So we will give powers to them, and I said there will be 10 governments, a central government and 9 sub-governments that will also be doing a lot of the day-to-day work. Go ahead. Now we are about to gazette the National Land Commission and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Both of them are there. We want to change the provincial council election system to the original one we had of preferences, but with 2 major amendments. One is representation for women and youth in the provincial councils. Secondly is to allow members of parliament to contest the provincial council and be members of the provincial councils and members of parliament simultaneously. What will end up is that all the chief ministers will also come to parliament, which is good. The central executive and the provincial executive can all be there. This province has tremendous potential just on renewable energy alone, on tourism, on agriculture modernization. We want to have the investment zone, 3 parts, one in Parantan, one in KKS, one in near Vaunia. And with the Trincomalee Harbour being developed and land connectivity, just imagine how you will develop. Your potential for renewable energy runs into gigawatts, I think, not even megawatts. So these we have to exploit, which you all can do. Because I think Jaffna needs it, the northern province needs it. We have suffered too long and your potential is great. So this is what we have to look at and to go ahead and to do a transformation. So I think, in my view, the country needs a change. We can't be hiding behind the same old system and doing nothing. It's very convenient. But the system has to change. You all are doctors, you all are lawyers, you know the potential. And Jaffna was one area that led the way most of the time. I think you've got to come up and take that civic leadership and to go ahead. This country has to go ahead as a new Sri Lanka. We all decided we'll wait here, whether we are Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims or anyone. We are not going out because COVID color. We are not going to another place. Whatever the difficulties, problems we say, we are going to stay here. You all have faced problems, you have decided to stay here. My house was burned down, I also decided to stay here. So let's make a go of it and let's make a success of it and ensure all are treated equally and you all will be responsible for the development of your own area. Think anew, don't think in the old way. Thank you.
We lead the web news.